Filmmaking started off just as a hobby when I was probably about 11 or 12, just making simple animations on Microsoft Paint, and then doing things with friends with kind of cheap digital cameras. Inspirations as a filmmaker when I was younger were kind of the obvious ones, so it was like Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese, and they still are today to a point, but I mean I kind of get inspired by a lot more kind of wide range of things. Everyone can make a film if they want to, but there's kind of good and bad sides to that. Good in that it's so easy to make films now with technology, but bad in the fact that there's so much more competition and everyone is doing it. I mean, being based in Norwich has its kind of ups and downs. I mean, it's good and there's kind of quite a good kind of creative scene and a fairly good film scene. And there's lots of kind of cool networking things going on.
We're looking for our sister.
She's out there. We'll find her.
Pandemic is probably kind of the most difficult filmmaking experience and film I've put together so far. It's kind of the Murphy's Law of everything that can go wrong will go wrong. So actors dropped out or moved away, and kind of dates conflicted with things. And we shot a bunch of the film a few years back, and it just wasn't coming together the way I wanted it to. So we scrapped the whole thing, we rewrote the script, restructured the kind of story of it, and recast it, which is the film it is today. I started off looking at films kind of in the same genre, kind of post-apocalyptic things. So kind of Lost was a big one in kind of getting the feel of it and kind of selling those kind of desolate places. So as well as Pandemic, which should be finished very soon, I'm also working on kind of third-year piece for university, which is a film called Civvy Street. It's something very different than I've done before. It's very character-driven, and it's kind of not kind of the zombie guts and gore that people are used to from my films.
My name is Chris Smith. I'm a Norfolk filmmaker, low-budget filmmaker. I've worked on some short films, and I've just finished my first feature film. I was inspired by making films at the age of 6 when my siblings started making films and got me to act in them, and all of a sudden I started wanting to become an actor, and no one would give me that, so the only excuse I could do was make these films myself. The Lost School was something that was very picky, obviously, just due to getting things accurate in a historical sense, making sure people didn't say certain language that didn't make sense, like you couldn't use these certain words, or costumes had to be specific. But whereas If I'm Still Here was a bigger budget, we were focusing with a lot more talented people and getting a team together. It was a personal thing when I wanted to make I'm Still Here. My family reacted to my aunt who suffered from breast cancer and died within 2 years, suffering throughout it. And I've seen a lot of films about sort of illnesses and cancer, but it was never really focused on too much about the people around that victim.
It's been 72 days since I found out I was going to die. The time just goes by. In all honesty, it sure as hell hasn't been fun.
Currently I'm working on a short film which happens to be a sequel of a film I made 2 years ago, which is called Z-Lister. The sequel happens to be called Z-Listers.
You see the bullet entered through the left eye socket and ricocheted through the brain. Ricocheted? What? You said ricocheted. Did I? Are you sure?
It's more of a spin-off about the friend character, so it's not a continuous storyline. It's focusing on the friend character from the first film as he deals with financial troubles getting copyright with the BBC.